Hi there my little cherubs. Today I'm going to talk about something that I have not tackled yet on the YouTube channel, and I kind of see it as a part 2 in some ways to the video that I made a while ago about starting and developing your YouTube channel and growing your audience and that kind of thing, because it is kind of in the same vein. It is in the same vein. It's like an advice giving kind of video, and it's based on something that I do get asked a lot of questions about. I get a lot of emails about, so let's dive right in and hopefully I can offer you some really decent tips and some interesting insights that can help you to make progress on your own journey if that's something that you want to do. As you'll be able to tell from the title, this is going to be about advice for heart-centered, spirit-led, solopreneurial, mystical business owners of any kind. It's going to be advice for people who've already started out on their business journey but just feel like they could really use some insights to get themselves moving further along the road. And it's also going to be for people that kind of have the seed of a business in the back of their mind but haven't really been able to bring it into tangibility yet, or aren't ready to bring it into tangibility yet, but think that one day they might actually spread their wings and join us crazy business owners for this mad ride. Full disclosure, I have actually been speaking on the topic of heart-led, solopreneurial, spiritual business for a while now, particularly on the topic of selling spiritual services, which I feel is very much where my strong point is and where I've kind of got the most to give in terms of advice and insights. I've only made one video about it on the channel before, which I will link down below for anybody that wants to check it out, but I don't necessarily feel that YouTube is where I organically feel moved and called to speak about business a lot of the time. But depending on how well this video goes and how many people it actually helps, I might consider whether or not I could stand to talk more about the topic on YouTube. I have done interviews with a few people about the topic of spiritual business, and I will leave 2 of my personal favourites below. One is with the wonderful Joanna DeVoe. I did an Every Which Way interview with her last year about the topic of business, and she brought a lot of her awesome insights to the table as well. And I also did one earlier this year with Carrie Mallon, quite recently with Carrie Mallon. I'll link that below as well. Again, she brought a lot of her kind of solopreneurial, spiritual business babe insights to the table too. So it's nice to spar with people that also do make their money doing this kind of thing online, and I tend to find I always learn something as well from those interviews. I also do run a thing called Wonder Worker Week. I do it every 6 months. The first official one was last November. The next one is coming later this month, and I'll give you some details about that later in this video. And on my SoundCloud audio file, I do Wonder Worker Biz Riffs occasionally, where I just riff about business for about half an hour, 40 minutes, and talk about some key things that tend to concern spiritual business owners and kind of troubleshoot and stuff like that. And on top of that, I also do write blog posts about business, and I will link you below to a blog post which actually just contains an index of the various different things that I have done to help people with spiritual businesses. You'll find a couple of free e-guides there as well that I've done for people that are spiritual business owners or want to get started on the business journey. So yeah, this is not my first rodeo. I have actually kind of spoken about my philosophies and my ideas on business before, but not necessarily at length on the channel. The kind of business that I run is what I would call a heart-centered personal brand, and most people of the spiritual persuasion who are thinking of starting a business online are going to be thinking of doing something similar, starting a heart-centered personal brand. So I think it would be helpful to begin by breaking that terminology down. Heart-centered, for me, where I'm coming at it from, basically just means that my heart is at the centre of the business. This business is my passion. So it's not something that I just do to make money. It's not something that I do with the aim of becoming affluent. It's not something that I do because I saw an obvious gap in the market and I saw that I could fill that gap. So it's not like any kind of mainstream business paradigm necessarily. It's to do with my soul's calling, my sense of purpose, what I feel driven to do, what really makes my soul sing. Heart-centered business owners are also going to be business owners who, aside from very much feeling, connected to their business at heart level, are also going to want to feel connected to their clients at heart level. So it's about giving every single client that very individual experience, which is about bringing your whole self to the client's needs as the business owner and having that collaborative relationship with the clients, whether they're purchasing products or services, it doesn't matter. The clients are a very integral and intrinsic and intriguing part of your business when you are a heart-centered business owner. So that's definitely got to be part of the equation as well. And on top of that, Heart-centered business owners will normally be those with a spiritual practice, spiritual beliefs, spiritual principles. And so anything about the mainstream business paradigm that seems ugly or underhanded or aggressively competitive or tacky or, you know, money grabbing, anything like that, any advice like that, any techniques like that, is not going to be part of what heart-centered business owner is going to have in their particular repertoire. A lot of heart-centered business owners just full-on shy away from that kind of advice, and that is why we tend to meet and mingle together, both online and in the physical world, to discuss ways of making money which are in alignment with our soul's calling, but don't make us feel yucky or stop us from sleeping at night, which is definitely a big and important part of what it is to be heart-centered in business. Where the personal brand side of it comes in is basically that I am the centre of my brand. I am the central spoke of my brand. So for example, if you sell green smoothies and you start a company called Green Smoothies for the Soul, and all of your branding and all of your pictures and logos include a picture of a glass of a green smoothie, that is not a personal brand. That is not a brand that has you and your personality and your life experience at the centre of it. Now, some of the mission statement and the overall philosophy for your smoothie business is definitely going to include slices of you, you know, without a doubt, but it's not a personal brand. Your personality is not at the centre of the brand. Now, if you look at something like what Leonie Dawson does, or what Danielle Laporte does, or what Marie Forleo does, just as examples, they are much more in the personal brand realm. So the way that they run their business means that they and their life experiences, their personality, their take on things is the absolute central spoke of what they're doing. And the great thing about having a personal brand is that it means that you can branch out in all of these different directions, you know. For me, I teach creative magic lessons, I teach tarot mentoring, I give tarot and oracle readings, I do spiritual counselling, and I also do business mentoring for people who want to learn how to make money and create a profitable business selling their spiritual products and services. So I have a lot of different strings to my bow, and the reason that I can do that is because I am my brand. So whatever I turn my hand to, whatever feels right for me, whatever I feel prepared to teach and able to teach, I can bring that under the umbrella of my brand, and none of it is really out of place, and everything kind of makes sense because it's all happening under my name. So really, a personal brand just means that whatever it is that you're teaching, whatever you're turning your hand to, you're threading your specific philosophy through it, and that's what really makes it yours as opposed to somebody else's. Having a personal brand also means that you can really allow the business to evolve with you. You know, the lessons that you learn, the things that you go through will definitely have an influence on, you know, what you want to blog about, what you want to make videos about, where you would like to turn your audience towards in terms of the content you're putting out for them. And a personal brand actually allows you to do that. It gives you the ultimate in sacred permission to take your business where you want it to go and do with it what you will. Can you believe I haven't got any fucking notes for this video? I think I'm doing really well so far. This was very spontaneous, but I think I'm doing really well. Go me! I have worked on business mentoring for a number of people who don't necessarily want to take the personal brand route. You know, they do want to focus the business primarily on their products or their services, and I think that's fine, and I have absolutely no issue with mentoring business owners of that nature as well. But all of the business mentoring that I do and all of the clients that I speak to are definitely heart-centered. I definitely exist within that paradigm. That is where I'm comfortable, and that is where things feel lovely and juicy and delicious and nurturing. If you feel like you might want to start a business and you are only just kind of thinking about it, or you've had it in your mind for a while but you don't know kind of where to go from there, I would definitely recommend examining the why, thinking about why you want to begin. The answers that you give to the question of why you want to start a business definitely, I think, can give you some vital clues about whether or not you're really going to be in it for the right reasons, and how much longevity and staying power your business will ultimately have when you start it. For example, answering the question of why you want to start a business with things like, because I know that I have something specific and special to offer, I feel like I can really help people, I want to bring something to the industry that has my unique flavour, I want to be involved in the conversation, I'm really passionate about this, you know, those kinds of things. I think that is definitely much more of a positive way to go. If your why includes things like, I really want to get away from my 9-to-5 job, I'm really fed up with where my life is right now, I see all these people making money, you know, doing tarot readings and posting decks on Instagram, and it looks like they're having a really fucking great whale of a time, and I want a little piece of that. Those are not quite so great intentions, right? Those are intentions that are based more on the ways in which you feel lacking and the ways in which you've kind of idolised or kind of fantasied the reality of what it is to be a tarot reader or a spiritual counsellor or a Reiki healer or any of those other things. So if your why is based around wanting to help people, being of service to people, knowing that you're ready for that and feeling that you have something specific to give to people that could definitely offer that, then that's definitely a good why. That other stuff about just being discontented and feeling like you want to do something easy and, you know, you want to do something that seems glamorous to you or seems fun to you, if your why doesn't include any kind of thoughts or ideas about how you could help people, how you could be of service to people, then it's much more likely that it's just a flash in the pan and it's not really for you. The next thing to realise is that heart-centred business and businesses that are based around spiritual products and spiritual services of any kind are not the kinds of businesses that just shoot up like an overnight success. Now, you could very well argue that no businesses really shoot up like a complete overnight success. You know, lots of work goes on behind the scenes to get those businesses to thrive and flourish, and there really is no elevator. Like, every single business, to an extent, needs to take the stairs. And I would definitely agree with that. But I think that if you look at a lot of mainstream businesses and a lot of mainstream industries that are out there, the aim is to start a trend, or create a fad, or create a very instantaneous and fast spreading kind of infectious desire for the product or service, and to get as many people on board and buying into the brand as possible. Heart-centred business is not like that. That is not what you're aiming for. That is not really what you want. You're looking to match up in terms of your ideology, in terms of your vibration, in terms of your beliefs with other people who believe the same things, need the same things, are on your wavelength, you know? Now, particularly if you're selling spiritual services, spiritual guidance, advice in that realm of any kind, obviously there's no way that your aim should be to be an overnight success and have a profitable business overnight, right? Because what you're looking for are those soul connections, you know? You're asking people to trust you, to buy into having one-on-one time with you, to open up to you, to share things about their life with you. That's not the kind of thing that can or should materialise overnight. So there's no way that you can, you know, get on the fast track to having a profitable, immediately full-time business. There's just no way that that can happen. Now, it can be more likely with selling products as opposed to selling services that you might create kind of like an infectious wave of desire and immediately see some profit. But at the same time, you've also got to remember that with most heart-centered businesses, the products that are being created are things like spiritual tools, you know, like oracle decks, candles, oils, that kind of thing, wands, books of shadows, things of that nature. These are not just things that people buy because they look pretty and they're ornamental. These are things that people purchase for their most deeply regarded and profound spiritual practices, right? So again, you're not going to be able to instantly create this wave of people that out of nowhere are going to connect with your brand. They don't know the first thing about you, they don't know your reputation, they don't know where you come from, and out of nowhere they're just eating up your stuff, you know. Because of the nature of the products that you would be selling with a heart-centered spiritual business, you are looking to earn people's trust. You are looking to show people that your products are not only well made, but made with love and intention. Starting a heart-centered business and building it up to where it's full-time and it's profitable and it's consistent, it does take time. It definitely doesn't happen overnight. So it's important to realise that before you even begin. You can begin to build your business before you even have any products or services. This is something that I think is really important to note. I know that some people feel as though in the future they will want to have a business, a heart-centered business that speaks to their passion, but right now they don't have the products or services, they don't feel ready to sell, they just don't feel ready to start kind of putting the feelers out and making money. That does not mean that you can't begin to create a strong foundation, attract an audience to your ideas, you know, let people know who you are, begin to build a following, interact with people, communicate with people, get your name out there. You don't need to be selling anything whatsoever to do that. I have known quite a few witches and spiritual business peeps over the time that I've been online, you know, and over the time I've had a business myself, who started without any business. They weren't selling anything. They were just blogging or doing podcasts or making videos just to share their ideas, to give of themselves, to teach whatever it is they needed to teach or wanted to teach. And at first they did not have a product or service. In fact, it was their audience kind of like bugging them and asking them and, you know, requesting it of them, like, hey, have you got anything I can buy? Can I work with you one-on-one? Do you have any of this for sale? And it's only then that they've kind of flipped over into this idea of like, oh, okay, there's a business in this. So if you're not sure yet what you want to do, if you're not sure where it's going to go, if you feel like you've got a business in you, but you're not entirely sure what you want it to look like, there's absolutely no harm in beginning a blog now, getting a website now, creating a business Facebook page or a YouTube channel, whatever, now, so that you can interact with people, you know, give people that sense of who you are, what you can do, either what you're making and your process for making those things, or alternatively your teachings, your philosophy, how you can help people with their lives. Begin to get that stuff out now. You do not need a product or service to begin to create a really strong, engaging online presence, and then that can help you in the future if you ever do decide to roll out any products or services. But equally, you don't have to. You know, you haven't wasted any time in creating a strong online platform. You haven't. That's a myth. Any time that you spend engaging with people and building something online that's really interesting, that can start conversations for you, it's never going to be a waste of time. You're always going to be glad that you did it. You're always going to be glad that you learned something. And if in the end it turns out that the products and services aren't for you, you don't want to pursue a business, you haven't lost anything. So it's a win-win situation. Having a business can teach you so many incredible lessons about the art of consistent creativity, coming up with new ideas, coming up with new ways to engage with your audience, writing blog posts about different things, doing videos about different things. So it can really stretch you and challenge you. And that isn't always a pleasant feeling, you know, that's not always positive. It can be scary, and like everyone, you know, you can as a business owner get yourself into a slump and wonder, where is this going, or what can I do next? But that's part of the joy of having a business, is that you can really consistently challenge yourself, you surprise yourself, you learn so much about yourself when you're doing this, you know. And as long as you can consistently show up and see your challenges and your setbacks as valuable lessons and valuable ways to learn more about your craft, then you can continue doing it you know, for a lifetime. And it's such a beautiful way to make money. It's such a way to make money with integrity, and a way to make money that feels great. I never recommend that anybody jump straight into a business and leave their job and just immediately try starting to go full time. I know that some people have kind of like felt that they needed to jump ship in order to push themselves to really make it full time and to really go out there and get those clients. But with heart-centered business, I genuinely don't think that's the way to go. If you've got a full-time gig and you can register your business as a side hustle for the meantime, do that. Okay, and do that until you've got consistent money coming in from the side hustle. If somebody is willing to support you and allow you to leave your job so that you can get on with, you know, working to make the business full time, that's great. But the vast majority of us did not have something like that. We didn't have a safety net, you know, we didn't have anybody to kind of help us while we got the business on its feet, and that's perfectly okay too. You can work your job and do the business as a side hustle, but you do need the dedication, and you do need to know that it is what you want, and you've got to consistently keep talking yourself up and encouraging yourself to make that work, because it is difficult. And I'm not going to lie, you know, I do see business advice from time to time online, which I feel very much papers over or greatly downplays the level of sacrifice and compromise that is necessary to get that side hustle to be a profitable full-time gig. I think it's something that people could stand to talk about much, much more, you know. I do think people do just paper over the gnarly bits of what it really means to build a business and to get it to become profitable and to create that, you know, that kind of culture of repeat clients and that culture of having a supportive audience around what you do. That doesn't come easily, particularly not if you've got to work a full-time job and then work doing your thing on the side and just keep building it and seeing it evolve very slowly over time. I feel like there are a lot of stories out there that cut out that inconvenient middle bit. So there are a lot of people reading these stories and getting the distinct impression that creating a profitable spiritual business or a profitable heart-centered business should take no time at all, you know, that you should just leave your full-time job and just dive in and the clients will come if you just believe and if you just, you know, grasp these pieces of selenite and believe. And it's just like, you know what, it doesn't happen that way. It's grit and it's it's going through the motions, and it's believing, and it's creating that consistency and just bringing love to it on a consistent basis. I do think not enough people talk about the sacrifices that are made, you know. I know that for me, I sacrificed a lot of social life for the past few years, building up my online presence, building my audience, engaging with my audience, blogging, making videos, making notes about stuff that I could do, you know, creating courses, doing readings, just really, really putting the hours in, thinking about how I could take it to that next level. And I did sacrifice stuff. I absolutely did sacrifice stuff, and I have no problem saying that, and I'm glad, and I have absolutely no regrets about that. And I just think it's part of the story that people could stand to discuss more, because there is definitely an element of compromise, and that's something that you shouldn't shy away from. And if you're shying away from that, if that's something that doesn't resonate with you, then maybe you're not ready quite yet for a business, you know, because there definitely is that element of compromise. No matter what stage you're at with your business, whether you've been doing it for a while or whether you're only just starting out, it can really, really help to sit down and work out some keywords or key phrases that actually help to explain why you do what you do and what is the essence of what you do, you know. So you can always refer back to those keywords or those notes when you feel a little bit lost, when you feel a little bit all over the place and you're not sure how or where things are going. For me, I have 3 keywords that I've worked with for a really, really long time that I feel I can ascribe comfortably to everything that I do with my business and everything I do with my creative output, which is a part of my business, and that will always help me to see if I'm on track. And those words are creativity, healing, and empowerment. Those 3 words are really the essence of what I'm trying to give to my clients and to my audience, and also to myself throughout the process of doing what I do. I always look at what I'm doing, whether it's like designing a course, whether it's a reading that I'm designing, whether it's a blog post, a SoundCloud audio file, a YouTube video, anything of that nature. And I just quickly filter it through those 3 keywords, and I ask myself, does this piece of content, does this thing that I'm birthing into the world comply with one or more of the following 3 words? Like, does it give my audience one or more of the following 3 words? Healing, empowerment, creativity. Does it make them feel charged up and ready to be creative and autonomous and sovereign in their own lives? Does it empower them to harness their personal power, walk the road that they want to walk down? Does it help them to heal emotionally? Does it help them to reconcile with the wounds that are inside of them? Does it help them to shed a skin? Does it help them to leave the past behind, you know? So for me, healing, empowerment, and creativity, those are the 3 key things that I really want somebody to walk away from after having an interaction with my online presence. When it comes to, you know, setting up a blog, setting up a website, doing your branding, you know, choosing the colours for stuff, just choosing the online aesthetic for what you want to convey in your business, the most important thing to think about is whether or not you are happy with it. If you're comfortable with it, if it feels like home for you, then it's fine, stick with it, it's awesome, it's all good. If you're only creating the look of your blog or your website or whatever because it seems to be what's trending right now in spiritual business, or it's what that person that you admire is doing, you know, but it doesn't really feel like it fits you, and it's not really about you, it's more about who you're going to impress or who you need to, you know, kind of try and be like, then you've got it all wrong. You need to go back to the drawing board. That's not tasty, it's not going to get you anywhere. This is about being honest with yourself. This is about interfacing with yourself when you're actually setting up your branding and setting up your aesthetic. When it comes to the way that you present your business online, the way that you want your website to look, the way that you write your copy in business, your branding, your aesthetic, you know, the colour palette that you choose, all of those kinds of things, the most important thing is to figure out whether or not you feel comfortable with the choices you're making, and whether they come from a place of deep joy and enthusiasm, or whether they actually come from a place where you're just trying to kind of imitate what seems to be trending right now in spiritual business, or try and look at what somebody else has done and try and recreate it, you know, because when you're looking at it like that, when you're kind of looking externally for what you ought to be doing and what your business ought to be conveying, then the likelihood is that you're not coming from that heart-centered place. Then it's really important to drop into your heart when you make key decisions about the aesthetics, the copy, the branding, and that kind of stuff. That's absolutely essential. In my free e-guide, Work It Baby, I do talk about the very important question that you need to ask yourself when you go to your homepage, when you go to your website, and the question is, do you feel like you're at home? You know, do you feel like you've just closed the door behind you and you're in your comfortable little cyber home and everything feels great and everything's where you want it? Because that's how you should feel, you You know, when I go to kellyannemaddox.com, that's how I feel. I really just feel like it's mine. I built it, I know how it runs, it looks okay, I'm happy with it, I'm happy with the branding, I'm happy with the background, the font that I use and everything. So it feels like home, I'm happy to be there, I like being there, you know, and that is so much a vital part, a key part of it. If you don't feel like you're home, then other people are not going to feel like it's a nice, homely, comfortable and interesting environment for them. If you're confused about what you're conveying, other people are going to be confused about what you're conveying. So it's really important to just stay on brand and know that you're coming from a place of selfhood rather than a place of what do I need to do to be like that person, or what do I need to do to convey that I know what I'm talking about. You need to not come from that place, you need to come from here. Don't be afraid of networking, don't be afraid of reaching out, don't be afraid of communicating with other people in your industry or with people in other areas of the spiritual, you know, business realm. It's so lovely to have friends and collaborators, it's so lovely to get on with your peers. That's part of what being heart-centered is about. It's not about competition, it's about collaboration, and it's about mutually congratulating each other. That doesn't mean that you need to play in the sandpit with every single business owner that crosses your path. It doesn't mean that you should feel obligated to collaborate with anybody. If you get a bad feeling about somebody, if you know that somebody is unethical or unscrupulous, then you need to back away, and it's absolutely okay for you to do that. You do not need to be best friends with absolutely everyone, but you tend to get a sense of who in the community is on your wavelength, who vibes with you, and who you can have a really meaningful and mutually beneficial relationship with. What I'm trying to say essentially is that competition is not really a useful paradigm. It's not going to get you anywhere. It's far better to look at it like this. There are a lot of people coming to the party right now. There are a lot of new people that are really interested in alternative spirituality. They're interested in witchcraft. They're interested in spells and how to do spells, you know. There are a lot of people coming towards things like crystal healing and tarot card reading that were not interested in them before. There's lots of people moving away from secular, you know, atheism kind of circles, and also moving away from established religions and coming more into this mystical disco that we've got going on, okay? So there are actually a lot of people coming over here that are seeking spiritual products and seeking spiritual services. There are actually more people looking for them than there are supplying them, okay? So there's plenty of clients to go around. There's no need to be all like those seagulls in that cartoon. What is it? Is it Finding Nemo, where all the seagulls are like, mine, mine, mine? Don't need to be like that. Not needed in spiritual business. There's plenty for everybody. Everybody can have their piece of pie and it's all good. Mine, mine, mine. Living by the sea. I swear they knew I was talking about them, doing impressions. There is so much more that I could talk about. I'm 100%, I always feel like I'm backed up when it comes to business. I could talk about it and talk about it and talk about it and bleh. But I'm going to leave it here, otherwise this video is going to get too hideously long. This month, from the 16th of May to the 22nd of May, is Wonder Worker Week in my world, okay? So I am going to be doing a couple of SoundCloud audio files about business. They are called Wonder Worker Biz Riffs, and they will be released between May 16th and May 22nd. I will be doing 1 or 2 more videos about spiritual business. I have not decided what they're going to be about yet, so if you want to stick any recommendations below, or let me know what you were interested in hearing more about today, or what you were hoping that I would go into, and maybe I will consider that as a theme for one of the videos. Also, on the 21st and 22nd of May, that's the weekend of Wonder Worker Week, I'm going to be conducting another Wonder Worker Weekend Video Fest on kellyannemaddox.com, and that is where I basically offer some exclusive unlisted video goodness that you have to go to my website to get your hands on. So I'm going to basically be doing oracle and tarot advice reading type thingamajiggers. I'm going to be having a look at the cards and seeing what the cards can actually tell us about how to conduct a really kind of juicy, passionate business that turns a profit. So that's going to be really cool. So if this heart-centered spiritual biz stuff has meant anything to you or been interesting to you at all, I urge you to keep an eye on my social media and my YouTube channel and my website, etc, etc, between May 16th and 22nd. You can also check out Sweet Alchemy, which is an exclusive collection of 4 Wonder Worker Biz Riffs that I'm going to be putting out on video format and also on recorded audio format. I'm going to be tackling 4 big issues that tend to come up time and time again for my business mentoring clients, and I'm going to be talking about about those issues in quite a lot of depth. So if you want to click the link and go over to find out what those 4 big things are that I'm going to be kind of breaking down for you and talking about, then you can do. I'm going to be offering each of the biz riffs in video format and also in downloadable audio format as well, so you can listen to the biz riffs when you're out and about, you can listen to them on your phone, when you're going for a run or cooking the dinner, whatever. So if you purchase Sweet Alchemy, the biz riffs will land in your inbox throughout the week from the 16th to the 22nd of May. So as well as having the free stuff on YouTube and on the blog, you'll also be able to dive really deep with me and listen to some of my core teachings in these kind of lengthy, very in-depth chats that I'm going to be putting together. So if you want to purchase and get yourself onto the mailing list, please do feel more than free to do so. You will have another opportunity to purchase Sweet Alchemy if you do not purchase it for May. However, it's going to be much later in the summer. So purchasing Sweet Alchemy now in alignment with the Wonder Worker week from the 16th to the 22nd means that you'll be able to get the materials early and you'll be able to put them to use much earlier. And it also means that you'll be getting a free bonus video from me as well, where I will be talking through some key messages from the Oracle and the Tarot to help you to really connect with the heart of your business and turn a profit doing what you love to do. This has been an interesting sojourn into a topic that I do not normally talk about on YouTube, and yeah, it's been good, you know, it's been interesting. I hope it's been interesting for you too. I hope you have learned something from it, and thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. Much love, guys. Blessed be. Necessarily in taking the personal brand route, and very much want to place their oh, I've got an eyelash. Oh God. Oh, bloody hell. Oh. Hello.